Why have a wedding video? Why? Well, the answer is very simple: because you'll kick yourself in the BTT every day if you don't. When you see you other brides having a beautiful video of their wedding day, you'll wonder why you didn't. Video isn't just a quaint little side gimmick anymore. Video is an art and a profession. Of course, there are some bad videographers and some inexperienced ones, but I think you've enough common sense to weed those out. Let's concentrate on the experienced and qualified professionals. In this day when people are capturing life on video with their cell phones and iPods and every other gadget, why would you let the most important moment of your life just slip by and not get it on quality video? But I've an excellent photographer and it's already costing me an arm and a leg. Well, videography is generally not as expensive as photography for a multitude of reasons which I won't go into here. There are also a few very important differences between video and photography. The most obvious one is that they are not the same. The next one is that one DVD of VHS is a lot easier to carry around to a friend's house or send to a relative in some distant state or country than your entire wedding album. Also, you can copy your DVD or VHS and send it to relatives where photos you generally don't get the negatives, so you've to go back and have your photographer make you copies for a rather handsome fee. The best reason why video is so very different from photography I've left for last. Can you take a guess as to what it's? I won't keep you in suspense any longer. The best reason why you really want a video of your wedding day is because when you watch your video, it's like being there all over again. When your spouse is far away and you miss them, when you want to hear yourselves taking your vows again, or when you want to see yourself walking down the aisle, you can see it as it really happened. Photos only capture a soundless, emotionless, split second of what happened on your special day. Video captures sound, images, emotion, mood, ambience, tensions, fears, joys, happiness, sadness, all the emotions of the moment. You don't need to fill in the blanks with your memory because there are no blanks. If a photo is worth 1,000 words, then a video must be worth millions of words. I'm not saying not to have a photographer at your wedding. I would never be so crazy as to advocate one at the exclusion of another. Even though some photographers do try to talk brides out of spending on a video so they can get the bride to go for a more expensive photo package. Those are unscrupulous dealers, and I hope you can see through their ploy. I believe both photography and videography have a useful and legitimate place in your wedding budget and on your wedding day, but going without video is like going without music at your reception. It's okay, but it could have been better. Do some shopping around, look at some demo videos, and I'm sure you'll be convinced that it's something you really want for the long run, and you'll get many years of enjoyment out of it. The best part is that as years go by and fashions change, it will be a kick and a hoot to see just how you looked those many years ago. Your kids and grandkids will love it too. No matter what you decide, good luck and be happy. Why should you get married in Las Vegas? Las Vegas is by far the most popular wedding destination in the United States and perhaps the world. Over 115,000 weddings are held in Las Vegas every year, and it's a perfect place for couples and celebrities who want to get married quickly and/or unusually. Las Vegas weddings have the following advantages: it's affordable. Vegas weddings can cost less than traditional wedding ceremonies. It can be held on very short notice. Most chapels in Las Vegas allow couples to book their wedding right away. Others accommodate walk-ins. But make sure you've a marriage license first, available from the Marriage Bureau Las Vegas, Nevada, which is located at 200S 3rd Street, 1st floor, Las Vegas, NV 8915511603. Cost at time of writing was $55. It's convenient. Las Vegas hotels usually have their own wedding chapels with a wedding coordinator who takes charge of all the preparations, including the flowers, music, and marriage celebrant, officiant, and can get in touch with the bridal party on the phone or even online. It's fun. Vegas weddings offer couples a fun and amusing wedding, even with an Elvis impersonator. It allows couples to start their honeymoon early. There's no need for couples to board a plane and head out of town after the wedding. Las Vegas is a great honeymoon destination. Your Las Vegas wedding checklist. 1. Set a wedding date. 2. Decide on a Las Vegas wedding chapel. You can check out Las Vegas wedding chapels online. 3. Speak to wedding coordinators to find out about wedding packages and compare service and prices. 4. Book the time and date of the ceremony. 5. Make plane and hotel reservations for yourself and friends and family attending the wedding. 6. Make reservations for a celebratory lunch or dinner. 7. Obtain your marriage license. 8. Slip away after the ceremony and begin your honeymoon. Below are some points you also need to consider when getting married in Las Vegas. Watch out for peak holiday seasons that result in busy wedding days such as Valentine's Day and New Year's Eve. Don't forget about a wedding dress. There are quite a few places in Las Vegas where you can rent wedding dresses if you don't wish to buy one. Extremely hot weather in Las Vegas can be uncomfortable when you're in a tuxedo or wedding gown, not to mention your hair, makeup, and wedding cake icing. Ensure you meet the legal requirements to get married and have a marriage license before the ceremony. Now you're ready for the exciting experience of a Las Vegas wedding. Viva Las Vegas! Why fuss over wedding centerpieces? Simple ideas. Dreaming of having the perfect wedding is what every bride and groom wish for, and why wouldn't they with all the time and effort they put into the preparations? Wedding plans and what goes on behind the scenes is very time consuming. Things like ordering the wedding bands, gown, and securing the date for the reception hall and chapel can all prove to be an ordeal, but if carefully thought out instead of leaving arrangements like this to the last minute, then you can be sure of a smooth road ahead. Sometimes it's the little things that are overlooked that can cause the whole event to go pear-shaped, and one being is the absence of a centerpiece. Wedding centerpieces are beautiful embellishments that are extremely important. These eye-catching pieces of work will add beauty wherever they are placed. Centerpieces don't have to be the center of attention on the day, but if displayed with perfection in mind, then expect surrounding areas to send out volumes of high-tone attractiveness, especially if the centerpiece is flowers. Classical yet simple wedding centerpieces intend to evolve round flowers and ornaments. Flowers without doubt are a hot favorite for couples tying the knot because of the way the nature blooms add color and project a lingering natural fragranced aroma. Check availability on flowers because they are seasonal and therefore your choice may have to be shipped in from another country. Have an organizer come in early to arrange all flower displays. This will give you time to satisfy your curiosity of how they will look. Remember, wrong blossoms can do more harm, taking away beauty instead of enhancing it. Other ideal options for a wedding centerpiece are silver candelabras. If you're considering floating candles in a glass bowl, then you've a guarantee of a pretty enough sight to take the limelight. Depending on where you marry, centerpieces will differ. If the wedding ceremony is to be held in the garden, then consider nature for your theme. Miniature birdhouses and flower baskets are fabulous items that can be used. If after all those months of scrimping and scraping and you find yourself still counting the pennies, then budget wisely but don't fret. Have fresh fruit, just as sweet smelling as flowers, but this way you get the best of both worlds where you have a centerpiece juicy enough to eat. Why hire a wedding planner? Are you trying to decide whether to hire a professional wedding planner or do it yourself? Take a look at this rudimentary collection of chores and details to be attended to in order to pull off a successful wedding. You'll probably want to run, not walk, to find the nearest professional wedding planner or consultant. There's the church wedding and all it entails, from providing your baptism certificate to choosing between confetti and biodegradable rice. Then there are such items as who sits where, ushers, bridesmaids, best men, flower girls, music, wardrobe, hairstyles, flowers and rings. Not to mention the vows, and all the rehearsals. There's the reception. Finding the right venue and the right caterers can be a really stressful task. Then you've to plan the menu, the bar and the service, all the while hoping against hope that everything comes out okay. Not to mention the wedding cake. There's the photographer. And do you want stills and videos too? What kind of transportation will you use? What about the invitations? How to know what to put on them, who to invite? Are you getting the picture yet? The above list shows only the tip of the iceberg. The myriad chores involved in completing just one of those tasks is enough to make one elope to Las Vegas or Mexico. In fact, the only reason you might hold back on hiring a wedding planner is your budget, but that reasoning is not well thought out. A professional wedding planner not only has the know-how and the contacts to get you the best deals around, but also will hold you to your original budget with an iron will and the experience to back it up. Without someone like this on your side, things can get out of hand pretty fast. Make your dream wedding a memory to cherish forever, not a nightmare full of stressful problems to solve. A wedding planner will stick with you through thick and thin and be a shield and a comfort so you can relax and enjoy the best day of your life. Why you get more with Liberty Uni 4 milliseconds. There are few concepts as respectable as being a protector of the people. Sometimes you may find that you're a protector but of animals domesticate and or wild. Whatever you're protecting, you probably wear a uniform of one type or another. There are many reasons why wearing a Uni 4 milliseconds is important and necessary, but there is one workwear company most trusted for providing those Uni 4 milliseconds: Liberty Uni 4 milliseconds. No matter what part you play in keeping our daily lives safe and secure, you need workwear that works as hard as you do. Why is this so important? 1. Professionalism. You must remain professional at all times. Liberty Uni 4 milliseconds provides you with the opportunity to purchase outerwear, shirts and/or trousers that will make your professional look complete. 2. Reliability. Your workwear has to be reliable so that it keeps up with you when the going gets tough. You've to have workwear that is capable of providing you with the reliability of knowing when you need to move and move fast. Your workwear is going to move with you. 3. Flexibility. Liberty uniforms provide top quality workwear that will flex when you need to flex. You'll find it easier to bend when you need to bend, and should your workwear snag, you'll find there is some give in that workwear, allowing you to not worry about rips, tear, or worn out shoulders. Liberty uniforms offer more. There are a few categories offering excellence and professional when you need it most. Outerwear. When you need to go out in the rain, have high visibility workwear or protection from other harsh environment, this outwear is going to last you a long time, adding years to your life. Stay warm, stay healthy, and add a protective barrier between you and your environment with each piece of outerwear you choose. Shirts. Whether you're wanting a short or long sleeve shirt for your working ensemble, you'll find there are a copious number of colors and features that will help you get the most out of your next purchase. No difficult decisions to be made here. Instead, you can shop with confidence knowing Liberty Uniforms has your back. Trousers. Number 1. Know how to make the best security trousers in the industry. Liberty Uni 4 milliseconds offers the best in design and style when you're looking for the best construction for your trousers in your often hectic workplace environment. Mini uniforms for kids, infants. Sometimes, you may find you need something special for the younger generation. Nothing is as friendly, as professional, or as compassionate as having mini uniforms for kids or infants. There are so many options to choose from. You'll find a couple sets of these work miracles. No matter what you choose when deciding on Liberty Uni 4 milliseconds, you'll soon discover why some protection workforces rely on this superior company for all their workforce clothing. You'll find a hefty selection of choices for colors, materials used, features, sizes, and so much more. With these wonderful pieces of workwear, you'll come to understand why this one company stands out in a crowd. Why so many people are identity theft victims. So many people out there today have been identity theft victims, and there are many explanations for this. Basically, there are so many identity theft victims largely in part due to the fact of how technologically advanced the world has become. After all, there's practically number 1 out there today that does not have or use a computer, and so that right, so many people out there today have been identity theft victims, and there are many explanations for this. Basically, there are so many identity theft victims largely in part due to the fact of how technologically advanced the world has become. After all, there is practically number 1 out there today that does not have or use a computer, and so that right there goes to show why there are so many identity theft victims. Since the internet first came out, it has been much easier for people to steal other people's identities, and it's in fact so common now that odds are that you know someone, or maybe even more than one person, of which have already been identity theft victims. If you learn all that you can, then you can protect yourself against it and not be included in the identity theft victims category. How to protect yourself. There are really many different things that you can do in order to protect yourself from identity theft. For instance, you can make sure that you don't have any credit cards unless you absolutely need them, and if you're someone who does need them, then at least make sure that you only have 1 or 2 rather than a whole bunch. This way you'll be less likely to lose one, and as well you'll have less credit card numbers that are able to get out in the open and get taken and used by an identity theft perpetrator. Another good idea is to make sure that you rip up all of your bank receipts and statements once you leave the bank. Unless you've a safe place in your home that you keep them. You never want to leave your bank receipt on the top of the ATM machine, for instance, because someone can actually take that and use the information on it and steal your identity. It's actually really unbelievable as to how easy it's for someone to steal your identity, and so you definitely want to make sure that you take all of the precautions that you possibly can. There are so many people out there that are more than willing to help you out throughout this process, and so you want to make sure that you take full advantage of this so that you can get as much information and protect yourself as best you can. Why everyone should recycle. Recycling is sort of like exercising. We all know we should do it, but not all of us do it as often as we should, and some of us don't do it at all. However, there are lots of reasons why you should make an effort to recycle as much as possible. If you haven't been diligent about recycling your garbage, here are 7 good reasons why you should start. It cuts back on global warming. Our planet is starting to feel the effects of global warming already, and we need to do whatever we can to lessen the impact. Production of certain materials from scratch can release significant amounts of CO2 into the atmosphere. Aluminum production is a prime example. Producing new aluminum creates 95% more CO2 than recycling old aluminum cans. In addition, recycling paper saves trees. For each ton of paper recycled, 17 trees are saved. Each of these trees can extract around 250 pounds of carbon dioxide from the air in a year. It makes us more energy efficient. It often takes a great deal more energy to create something from scratch than to recycle it. For example, it takes twice as much energy to burn plastic as to recycle it. It takes 64% more energy to make paper than to recycle it, and recycling just 1 pound of steel can save enough energy to run a 60-watt bulb for 1 day. It keeps our landfills from overflowing. We're fast running out of space for landfills, especially near cities. Seaside cities have been dumping trash into their oceans for decades to circumvent the problem, but with widespread marine ecological collapse, this is no longer a viable option. Worse yet, it's difficult to find land in suburban and rural areas whose residents will allow landfills to come into their areas without a fight. The squeeze for landfill land is only going to get worse in the future. Recycling gives us some hope for this bleak scenario. Studies show that 60% to 75% of garbage in landfills can be recycled. That means that if everybody recycled, we'd have 60% to 75% less garbage in our landfills, and we'd need at least that much less land for garbage disposal. It improves the quality of our groundwater. The garbage in landfills is usually not treated in any way, it's simply thrown in a big hole and buried over. Much of this garbage is not environmentally friendly or readily biodegradable, and it's no surprise that contaminants can get into our water. Rain and other runoff from landfills gets into our streams, rivers, lakes, and other waterways, damaging fragile ecosystems. It's also a major reason why it's not safe to drink from streams and rivers when you're hiking and camping, even when it looks like you're in a pristine environment. Recycling reduces the trash in landfills, and the more we recycle, the more our water systems can start becoming as pure as they look. It reduces air pollution. Many factories that produce plastics, metals, and paper products release toxins into the air. Recycle these materials and there will be less need for companies to manufacture new material, saving on the amount of pollution dumped into our atmosphere. In addition, disposing of certain recyclable materials can also produce significant pollution. For example, plastics are often burned in incinerators. Plastics are made with oil, and that oil is released into the atmosphere when the plastic burns, creating serious greenhouse gas emissions. It creates jobs. From manufacturing to processing, from collection to invention, it's no secret that recycling is a growth industry earning billions of dollars annually. Our need to recycle is only going to grow more urgent as populations grow and as technology changes. Recycling creates far more jobs than landfills do, enough jobs to make a big difference in a small town. It adds to property value. It's obvious that a landfill near your home can decrease your property value significantly. Recycling reduces the amount of land needed for landfills. This reduces the number of houses near landfills, keeping property values up and homeowners happy. The more people recycle, the fewer landfills we need, and if enough people pitch in, recycling should pay off for everybody. It's good business. Pitting business against the environment is a lose-lose situation. Everybody suffers. And yet that's how the debate has been framed in politics and the public sphere for years. This is a shame, because the truth is that recycling just makes good business sense. Industrial factories and processing plants save plenty of money on energy and extraction strategies when they use recycled materials instead of virgin resources. They also ensure that basic resources don't become a scarce commodity, keeping demand and prices down and ensuring that their business can continue for decades to come. One person can make a difference. With so many good causes, it's easy to get discouraged, especially when the problem is so widespread that it's hard to see what difference your individual effort is making. Many people think this is true with recycling, too, but the truth is that small acts of recycling make a big difference. For example, recycling just one large newspaper would save around 75,000 trees. On average, each person in the US produces around 1,600 pounds of waste each year. If you recycled all of that, you could save around 1,100 pounds of waste per year. That's over half a ton just by yourself. We hope that after reading this article, you'll be inspired to become a recycling advocate, or at least be certain to recycle in the future. Recycling benefits everybody and takes only a little trash sorting to put into effect. With our limited space for landfills and dwindling resources, it's a sure thing that recycling is here to stay. Why Pensacola is great for people on manual wheelchairs. Pensacola taxicabs. Almost all taxicabs in Pensacola can accommodate a maximum of 6 passengers, including a rider in a wheelchair and the cab driver. Pensacola Yellow Cab is glad to provide cab service to easy and convenient mobility-spoiled community. The women and men drivers of these manual wheelchair accommodating vans are sole contractors. The drivers of these vans are ought to join the Passenger Support Orientation Program. This is to provide better service suitable for the needs and comfort of their customers who can grab the chance to take on such service. Pensacola's amenable manual wheelchair accessible taxis are mostly Ford Winces. These taxicabs have many features. It includes a complete lower floor variation, and its back entrance has a universal manual wheelchair tie-down mode. These taxicabs also feature split temperature controls as well as windows, electric power locks and an air conditioning system. These wheelchair-accessible taxicabs are always ready to assist you. You can just call the cab dispatch lines anytime you want to in any day. Around Pensacola, people using the manual wheelchairs and those who are still physically able to use curb-to-curb taxi ride are having a great time with the homely pleasure of going to any place that they want to go. Studies in Pensacola suggest that there is a great demand for curb-to-curb taxicab service due to considerable population size of mobility-incapable people. They'll not anymore need the much involved as well as the much costly paratransit service, which are greatly needed by those suffering grave health problems and mobility challenges. In some cities, people with these inabilities are not entitled of the kind of service that they deserve. And for these people to meet their transportation necessities, manual wheelchair accessible taxicabs advance their options for them. They'll not be bothered for extra service payments that they don't require. Any passenger will certainly appreciate and acknowledge the cab's convenience and attractive look. Nonetheless, these manual wheelchair accessible vehicles have special function capabilities as well. There are standards being met by these vehicles and can even accommodate scooter and manual or electric wheelchairs with a width reaching up to 31 inches. A request of contribution from nearby local organizations and institutions has been made by the Pensacola's Yellow Cab to work together with mobility-restricted community. The demand for advanced transportation providers intended to people with more mobility problems and health issues. However, it's a delightful service for people who have the chance to take on the service. Don't leave before you press like button below and subscribe to this channel. As a subscriber, you will receive a new notifications every time a new video is uploaded. Good luck.